Hello, hello. Hey, I needed to do a video because there just came from Facebook this 2-year-old post of mine where I said something about that if you don't put clear boundaries to other people, they will take advantage of you, and also the same thing applies to your own fear and laziness. And this is so important. Like, this topic has been rolling in my life now this past week, like very strongly. And it's definitely the message of this whole thing, what is going on now, meaning the corona hysteria and all the isolation thing and staying home and all the fears coming up, and the thing that we are living in a kind of state where we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And there's so many aspects why this is now so important. And I'm doing this now in English because people complain to me when I do it in Finnish, because I have so many friends and people who read my posts in the foreign countries, so I have to do this in English. And it would be easier for me in Finnish maybe, but yeah, I do it now in English. So the theme, and the funny thing is also this, that these things, they come like exactly the same time of the year. That's why it's so brilliant why the Facebook is giving you the old posts, that you can see what you've been doing, like, or posting exactly 1 year ago. Because there is some kind of cycle for things that, same issues start to come up energetically, like at the same time of year. Like, for example, for me, always the time of October, November, I know that there is gonna come some shit up. Like, I have divorced at that time, and I have had some serious health issues coming up at that time, and there has been, it's kind of like always the time of the year where there is many whatever figures going on in the sky, and also it's always pushing all the shit up. And the other time of the year is the spring. Yes, because in the springtime we always need to do the revaluation kind of thing in our life. And now, of course, the whole corona came also now at this time of the year, because it's time to do the big cleaning, the inner cleaning, and everybody are now cleaning their homes and making it new, and everybody needs to do their inner inner not intervention, not innovation, inventario, I don't know what's that in English. Inventario. Yeah, so that's why also now all these things are happening now for us. And I'm getting to the point, maybe slowly, but there's so many important things to say on the way to the point, because this is a huge mental virus thing what we as human beings have, and it's now shown out so good with the whole virus thing here. So I will now say it, because then you will understand better. If we do not learn to put our boundaries and to put our fuck no, I am not doing this anymore, I don't want this in my life, I will not continue like this, this is not the way I will be treated, or I want to be treated, these are not the levels of communication or interaction or whatever is going in my life, this is not what I want. And we need to learn to say no. And it's so hard. it's so hard for me. I know there is people who master this and are very good at this. There there is also shadow usually behind that too. So uh, it's also one way to self-sabotage your life. So be aware of that. But I think that especially as when I've been growing up in Finland, we are very shy people here, and we are like rather kind of like okay, and then we disappear than just saying like, no, I don't want that, or I don't know. It depends on the situation. Sometimes we can be very like raw honest also, and like at for example, if you see Finnish tourists in some touristic places, and if they don't want something, they usually say no. But I don't know, this is a hard topic. I'm not gonna go there. But anyway, I'm talking about myself now, personally me. It's hard for me to say no, and it's hard for me to say no, especially in those situations where I don't have the clarity what is going on or what I want, or of my own opinions, or I just lack the clarity of the situation, and I don't have the feeling of being like very self-aware of all the different aspects of what I even want, or how things would feel to me, and what would be the best option for me. So those are the most difficult situation. And I think this corona situation is now like so good example of that. We are put in the situation where nothing is certain, like nothing is certain anymore. And this is also kind of the aspect of the dark God in a way, and the darkness always in our life, to come into our lives. And whenever there is some tragic things happening or something, it kind of like swipes out the carpet under your feet. And then when people come to help you with like smiling faces, even if they want something bad, it's very hard for you to say no, I don't want this kind of help. Or when you are kind of at your weakest point, you are confused, you don't know what to do, what is happening, your reality is being kind of like somehow crashing down and everything. And this is now the massive outplay of that kind of tragic moment, what we usually, everybody has there in their life, but it doesn't come like maybe on this scale very often. Like, yeah, so this is now a huge one. And yeah, and it's definitely a time to reevaluate what is important to you, who are important to you, what kind of information you can rely, and what is trustworthy, what kind of people are trustworthy in your life. And I don't know, it depends what kind of news you are reading, and what kind of news feed you have in your Facebook and all that. But like, at least I have been now so many years exploring so many kind of realities on this planet, and looking for people's different kind of ways to see life and the experiences on a psychological and spiritual level. So my news feed, for example, in Facebook is full of different kind of views of what is going on now, and why it's happening and all that. And mostly all these like other than the mainstream media opinions and thoughts and newses, they have the similar message, which is that we need now to go inwards, and we need now to say, you know, what is that what we actually want in our life, and how we want things to be handled, and do we really want to limit our freedom and freedom of speech and different kind of aspects that are very much on the kind of root of who we are. And then if you look the mainstream media, it's about more like, you know, controlling and who is controlling of which way, and like whose controlling methods are now more successful. So it's just a very different level of information. And yeah, both information streams, they bring a lots of like inner work to me, because I always need to kind of find my own clarity, and to be in a some kind of like open state, but still not in a confusement. And it's actually very calming for me if I'm capable of having the multiple sources, so that I can kind of like make my own view of what is going on. And that applies in many ways in my life. I like to see the multiple things happening in my life and multiple perspectives, and I like the variety of people in my life too. And how would I say, like also I can see it in the eating, and I can see it in my works, what I have done, my different kind of jobs. There is huge variety there, and I enjoy that. I really do enjoy that. But sometimes it's very, very hard to put those healthy boundaries. And now I'm speaking about healthy boundaries, not about like closing up for, you know, it's not kind of like negative limitation. It's more of the positive limitation, where when you have seen enough of something and you have felt that, okay, this doesn't feel good to me, and this doesn't look good to me, it doesn't bring me more peace and harmony, it's not actually logical, you know, and that kind of stuff. Even though you might have the emotional attachment to some things or people, and then when it's especially very hard to put healthy boundaries there. So yeah, so but the more you kind of have the variety in your life, and the more you are kind of calling it in, it's also more hard then to set boundaries, because you would need to have a certain level of awareness and certain level of what would I say, it is kind of like self-confidence, to trust that whatever you choose, it is good for you, and also to have the confidence in that even if you choose something wrong, it is there only to show you the way towards the right. But this is very, very hard for us human beings in general. We don't want to make mistakes, we don't want to be judged, or, you know, everybody would want to be kind of like doing the right thing and being the best of themselves. But that's also the thing that kills lots of things, at least in me. So, and then when we kind of like are not capable of putting the healthy boundaries and be confident in that where we set them, and to be kind of like having enough awareness of how we gather the information onto what we base then the boundary setting. So what happens if it's hard and we don't do it? What happens usually is that we end up doing nothing. We end up saying, not no or not yes. We end up staying quiet and just observe and follow, which is okay also for time, but anyway. And this applies also now, like kind of on the very everyday life of now in my life, when the corona came, like at home, the level of laziness that I have gone into is crazy. It's like, okay, like, because nothing really needs to be done now because of the illusion of that everything is stopped. It's not like that. That's just an illusion. And then it kind of like pulls me also into that illusion that, okay, because everything is stopped, there is, nothing I can do or I need to do in a way, or I don't have to do. And then I end up doing like all my nasty bad habits of eating candies and buns and, forgetting all the things that would be maybe good for me. And also like certain level of letting people also come into my life because of the corona compassion or whatever, whom I have already pushed out. I have let them come back into my life, because there is also some level of curiosity of how how people are doing and how are they doing in the different parts of the world and all that. But I have really, really, really seen that my boundaries have been now going like really loose again. And like in any way, this would be the time to clear them out and make very radical fuck no statements towards certain kind of people or things or habits or whatever in my life. But I have not been able to do it until now, because now I got it like in my head, like clear as lightning, that this is again now something that I really need to do, and it's so hard for me. But it's not anymore hard after kind of you have integrated the deep desire in your system of the new, that now I want the new, and in order to be able to get the new, I need to say my no's and be like, fuck no. And that's why I also say like this, that it's fuck no, because it's so hard if you are like a little bit like no. It's not really a no for me, because I know I will not be able to keep that boundary. So it really would need to be my inner fuck no, it's like not anymore ever, to be able to have it to kind of like be grounded, like sticking the no into the ground and standing there. And so then when it comes to this corona, I think this is now a huge opportunity for the whole humankind, to people to understand that this is now our time to tell to ourselves that do we still want to be the 3-year-old like naive child, even we are already adults, who are letting the authorities to put us into the home arresti. I don't know what's that in English, but basically when your parents tell you to go back into your room when you have done something bad. Or would we really want to be, would we rather really want to be the adults, the mature human beings who can make their own decisions for themselves, and also to take the full responsibility of our actions? Because all these things, what has come with washing hands and the personal hygiene and you know, all these unlogical ways to distance or to shut down places or things and destroy the economy. I'm not saying anymore that it's only bad that the economy is going down. I think this is kind of like reset time for the economy to be able to start a new ways again. But this is also a place where we need to be able to say no to the old ways of how we have been making money. If the way that we have been making money is being something that consumes us, is making us more stressed, angry, tired, whatever, then it's not anymore the way to do it. There needs to be now new ways to come in your life, how you are capable of making money and kind of build up on your own talent and happiness and all that. And this is also a huge thing for me, like really big thing. And yeah, but again, now go back to the washing hands thing, you know, that we need to be able to take the full responsibility of how we take care of our personal hygiene, how we take care of our personal space, where we set the boundaries with healthy ways when this kind of viruses, for example, come. Where do we put the healthy boundaries on ourselves of how we want to spend our lives, how we want to make our money, you know, and how we want really, like, I don't know how to say this now clear, but like what part of ourselves we want to operate. And in order to be able to even make that kind of decision, we need to be able to see our shadows and all the shit trauma based, unlogical thinking, bad behavior where we are always pointing on to others, you know, of coming into our space and making us sick and, you know, stealing our toilet papers and eating our foods. And you know, it's basically just getting out from the victim mindset. As much as you spend, or me, as much as I spend time in the victim mindset, the more deep I go there and the more lazy I become, the more I start to procrastinate. It numbs me, it freezes me when there is the fear of not being able to you know, deliver myself as I am and put those boundaries clearly onto what I want and who I want to be and whose opinions and thoughts and whatever I want to listen and hear, and from whom I take orders, if I take orders, and you know, who are the authorities in my life. And there's so many kind of like pieces, puzzle pieces, that we need to be able to kind of like put it on the correct position now and to be able to get them fit into the puzzle, that we can create the whole picture there about who we are, how we want to operate in this life, with what kind of people, how we want to make money, and how we want that to make us feel. You know, what is the meaning of true freedom, and the true meaning of freedoms of speech, and why they are important, and you know, how do we maintain the level of health that certain kind of influenzas or viruses or bacteria cannot you know, make us fall if they come to us. We need to be able to start to build our own immune system on a physical level, on a mental level, and in an emotional level. It's the immune system consists from all of those. If we have mental viruses and mental bugs, and our emotional system is very immature and is always collapsing and crashing, it also will affect to our physical body. And even if we would eat very healthy, it's not really helping if those other two systems are not, or if they are failing on a big time. So we are human beings, and we operate on many levels, and that now like really needs to be something that is part of our everyday life and our everyday choices and our everyday fuck no's, you know, and fuck yes choices. There was also some other thing that I wanted to talk about, but I forgot now what it was. So I will not now talk about it because I don't remember what it was. But yeah, these are my thoughts for today, and this is something that I really am kind of like mapping out in myself today and these days, and this is the way for me to gather my own energy and my own system on the kind of, I'm putting now the pieces together so that I would be able to upgrade it a little bit, like we all the time should do. We would need to upgrade ourselves like step by step all the time to be able to come more mature, more really grown up, empathic people who do not operate from different kind of mental programs and viruses, you know, and that's how we can build up more functioning communities and more healthy planet. Yes. So have a nice day, and yeah, I will post the rest of my thoughts maybe in another video. Ciao.